Hello, welcome to the Square Base Show. This is an exciting deep dive special. It's not a deep dive. This is where we're going to look at the Dwarven Mountain Holds, and we're going to be digging up the treasure that's been revealed in the update. The release. Any of those things. Val Heffelfinger, everyone.
The reveal. The reveal, I think, is the word you were reaching for.
Struggled there with the
Adepticon reveal. You want to talk about struggle? Tune into the live coverage of me trying to react to a bunch of guys sitting around in board shorts in a room talking about miniatures last night. Not my finest hour, Rob, so I'm glad to have the mulligan, the chance to redo my takes.
I mean, I wish I could redo the intro, but here we are. Here we are. Deep digging. We're not deep diving, we're deep digging. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we're sifting. We're sifting for gold in the honor of the Dawi.
The Dawi. I'd like to start this show off with saying that when I was playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle back in the day, dwarfs were generally given a bad rep. That's carried over, I think. And I'm here I'm here today to say that I am pro dwarf long term. I'm going to plant my cannon on a rock and decide that's where I live.
Pro short kings. Look, I am pro slayers. Slayers. I'm all in on slayers. I love slayers. They're the coolest. If only there was an entire army based on the idea of a slayer that I could play in a similar but different game. But nonetheless, I do love slayers. They're annoying and they're cool, and there's some neat stuff being dropped with regards to those guys. So let's do this.
So shout out to everyone on the Square Base Patreon. You guys are the best. Loads of love to you. There's been some great. There's been the excitement in there was frothy this morning. It was a very enthusiastic place to wake up to, which I was happy about.
Really?
So yes. Oh yeah, they're loving
cool.
it.
I haven't had a chance. I'll review the tape when we get off of this. We can get them reamped up. We can just lob this into the chat, and then they'll get all in a tizzy again.
Yeah, so if you've only just joined in to Square-Based Show, it's Val, I'm Rob. But the other thing I wanted to say was that if you haven't really been keeping up with the old world release, and it's the Dwarfs that finally brought you here, this is the announcement of the fourth kind of expansion that you are going to see. Yeah, we just had the rulebook launch to a sellout reaction. Then we had Bretonnians and Two Kings released. We've had the Orcs and Goblins, which we are literally 2 days away from seeing the early access creators be able to tell us all the hot gossip that's in there. And then now we're getting all of the dwarf information as well, the Dwarven Mountain Holds, which is fun. And if you don't know what that shape looks like, what happens is right now there's an entire dwarf roster that's available in the Fighting Fantasy book.
Forces of Fantasy. Fighting Fantasy are those Choose Your Own Adventure books by Ian Livingstone or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Forces of Fantasy book. So you can play an entire dwarf army now. This new book is an expansion full of special characters. Val, how would you describe the books, the Arcane Journals as we've seen previously? An expansion book? That's it?
Yeah, they're bolt-ons. They're additional ways to play the army because the lists that are presented to you in Forces of Fantasy and Ravening Hordes and the Renegade PDFs are all what are called grand armies. And so in the Arcane Journals, you get the opportunity to try out some. Shoot, it vanished from my head. Some armies that are a little different.
Armies of renown.
Armies of renown. Armies of renown?
Armies of infamy.
Armies of infamy. Infamy.
I would prefer I prefer infamy over
Armies of infamy.
There we go. So it's kind of exciting. We've seen my favorite one so far has got to be the Bretonnian Exiles because it allows you to make some not so hoity-toity Bretonnian options. They got blunderbusses. There's a bit more of a proletarian feel to them. And then on the Tomb Kings, I don't know, less interesting. Actually, I just haven't gone that deep into Tomb Kings, so I don't actually know anything about it. But gives you some new creative ways to play, and of course, you get a bunch of new items. Rumor has it that in this particular Arcane Journal, that these items are usable in the Grand Army, which is different, I think, from the other Arcane Journals, which is usable only in those special armies of infamy. So we've got some cool stuff, certainly. In the Orc and Goblin one, for example, we're getting our first batch of mercenaries in the form of ogres. So maybe we'll see some. We actually are seeing some mercenaries come out of the dwarves. Apparently not in the book, but mercenaries are going to become more of a thing. Dogs of war, So it's all very exciting. I'm quite pleased.
Yeah, it's super, super fun. And like it's been pointed out in the chat, this will be, while this is an announcement for the 4th faction in 3 months, that's a pretty it's a pretty heady pace to be getting these armies out there. But what's exciting is I think very few people have even had a chance to put their Dwarven armies on the tabletops yet. So, like, the fact that we're getting some fresh, hot content, and like you said, there's more of like a kind of spider web of additional content that you can add into your army, bringing over some mercenaries is definitely really fun and engaging. So I love that. That's really cool. All right, so we're going to look at the article now and see what got showcased. But I'd just like a quick TLDR from you, if you don't mind, Bud. You stayed up late last night, or got up early this morning to watch the interview. So there is a big deep dive by JTY and Dan, who are our kind of lead rules guys for the business. And they talked about this. What was your takeaway from kind of like some of the key points in there that they said?
A really heavy emphasis for some reason on the fact that like gunpowder and gyrocopters are like newfangled things for the dwarves. Whereas on the timeline, I'm pretty sure they've had black powder and like fancy equipment for quite some time. It's like a reaction of the dwarves to try and overcome their dwindling civilization. They talked about warriors and missile troops being the backbone of a dwarf army, certainly lore wise, but I don't know if necessarily the greatest on the table choices at this point, but we'll see. I did like their descriptions of some of the plastic kits that are coming back for this, the missile troops and the dwarven warriors, because I do think they're cool kits, and I actually they were never around when I've been interested in fantasy. So I've only ever had these things pre-built. I've never seen these sprues before. Should be fun, especially for the missile troops, getting some grudge bearers. You can convert them up into rangers, which are really good. So yeah, lots of cool options coming for the Dawi.
Okay. All right, let's look at what they talked about. So first up, they're obviously showing off the battalion box, which is either a way to expand your force or a way to, build up a new army. And it looks pretty good, to be honest. It's got
real banger here.
Yeah, they've got the Gyrobomber Gyrocopter kit, which is just the same sprue. We've got some Dwarven warriors, some hammers, some thunderers and quarrelers. Is that what we've got?
So we got quarrelers, thunderers, but that's either or. You can make the kit into either one of those two things, I'm pretty sure. And then we've got just the dwarf warriors who can come with great weapons or with hand weapon and shield. So I mean, no reason why you couldn't pretend those dwarf warriors are other things like longbeards, for example. But the real headliner here is 2 gyrocopters, because the orc and goblin box, which is quite a bit more underwhelming than this, was I think announced at 100 GBP. It's about 200 Canadian, and it has like 2 chariots and about the same amount of core troops, and just not nearly as good. And also, the gyrocopters are pretty expensive if you want to buy them a la carte. So like I think it's like almost as if it's the same price, you're getting your gyrocopters and then a bunch of dwarfs for free. So this looks actually like a decent box. I'm not gonna lie.
Also, like pretty good for scalability as well. Like there is looking at the Grand Army lists, you can take a lot of gyrocopters if you really wanted to go along that route. I think Thunders and Quarrelers is a great conversation about ballistic skill shooting at the moment anyway. Dwarf and Warriors, but dwarfs are dwarfs, right? You can kit bash them a lot. You can have some real fun with it. I think it's a great box. I think it's a great
Quarrelers
box.
are always cool too, because you can just slap a great weapon on their back, and they're sort of a multi-purpose missile troop. Again, that kit can be bashed into some rangers if you want. And great weapon warriors, I mean, I have trouble believing that they're that bad. These are great, and gyrocopters are always something you're gonna want. So as far as like a first thing to buy, I'm a Highland miniatures guy. I love the Highland range, but this box is making an argument to me for sort of a decent looking dwarf army. I'm pleased with this box for sure. I'm not poo-pooing this like I did my beloved Greenskin / Fungoids of Color.
What I also like about this, and dwarf fans will be pretty happy, is while you do obviously have the 2 war machines in the box, they haven't put like a cannon in there or something like that. They've just been like, it's about the dwarfs in the box, not necessarily the war machines. And I like that. I think that's a really nice little touch. Okay. So
it'd be great to actually add up like you're like if whether or not both the orcs and this, if you can get to 500 points of core with what's in the box. These guys maybe you could, I don't think the orcs could.
I think
they're probably a little short
with these, but maybe 10, maybe. I was writing dwarf list last night, so I think about that. And then we've got
that cover.
Yeah, now we've got the front
doing
cover.
The artwork. Do we have a lead on this? Because like the artwork is beautiful that they've been coming out with.
So the artwork is so they have in-house artists at Specialist Design Studios specifically. And there are a couple of artists that have been working on this project. And so I think I do know them, but I don't know if I can say it's them. But yeah, anyway.
That's fine.
But they're in-house artists, not external artists, which is great. And these are artists that also probably work on, they also will be working on the Horus Heresy similar at the same time. Which is quite cool. I love the front cover. What do you think about the front cover?
I think it's great. You just got a bunch of lads staring out at the camera here. You got the new king on shield bearers being represented. Gyros chopping around in the background there. You can see and they're coming forth from their mountain hold. I mean, it's very evocative. It's great. And if you saw the Orc and Goblin one, you kind of get an idea of what they're looking at, which is just this wave of unruly, one might say impetuous orc stuff coming their way. So yeah, I really love it. And also it has, I don't know if it is an actual hand-drawn piece of art. I mean, this might be something you can recreate too in digital form, but it has that feel. I think a lot of the art that we see come out of 40K and other places has more of a digital feeling to it. This feels really, I don't know, like it's been painted, so maybe it was.
I think they are doing digital. They're doing it digitally, but I think the intent is to make it look the way it looks. That artistic style, which is great. So I think it says here what we've got in the book. Anybody they want to get his hands on the ancient wisdom contained within the arcane journal, Dwarven Mountain holds a 48-page treatise containing the full information on the Dwarven kingdoms are up to during the time period, 2 armies of infamy, a handful of extra units and magical items, and 2 special characters.
Units. That's interesting.
Yeah, 2 armies of infamy, a handful of extra units and magical items, and 2 special characters you may remember from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. The reference cards pack covers all the runes, plus useful rules for the Anvil of Doom abilities, while the dice will demonstrate your pride as a Dowie. So new units is fun, in my opinion. I think we're obviously going to get Slayer's army, because spoilers, we're about to look at Young Grim. But we don't know.
Young Grim.
Young Grim. Young Grim. But we don't know what the second one is. I don't think I know what the second one is at the moment.
Yeah, I don't. Let's see if they tip their hand at all. I haven't read this super closely yet. And also, when I went to bed, this article wasn't nearly as fleshed out. It was just there wasn't nearly as much stuff in it. So this is actually cool.
Oh, fun. All right, so really fun. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to deep diving in the future. New minis, though, and ladies and gentlemen, a plastic kit. If I'm right in saying this is plastic.
Yes,
it comes in plastic. Yes. So we've got a new Thane, a new king on shield bearers with, as pointed out on our reveal stream, 3 lads holding him up.
3 lads. That's because of the scale creep. They had to get a 3rd lad in there to make it. He's the royal fart whifter. I like that he's like the other guys are just one-handing this thing, and he's got to have 2 hands on the shield in the back there. Like he's definitely low on the totem pole. He's got the worst job for sure.
He has not got a comfy hold space. They've got little handles. It rests on their shoulders, and he has got a rough time of it. This is not.
Or maybe maybe they're like, right, someone get over here, give us a hand with the shield bearing, and he's like that 3rd guy who helps you move a couch. He just sort of like puts his hands on top of it.
Yeah, with the missus is just
and like sort of it's just in the way, and it's just not like kind of like wishing they were looking at their phone. Yeah, maybe that's more like what's going on here. Maybe the guys in the front rank are really doing all the work. The 3rd guy, he's just a hanger-on.
Can I say one of the things that I like about the sculpt is it has absolutely classic, and I mean this with love, intentionally simple design cues. Just like there's no attempt on, for instance, the ring around the beard to add runes in there or overtly add elements onto it. Everything is just plays out exactly like you would expect it, but still ostentatious. The shield bearers themselves have got that big kind of medallion ring around them. I think it looks.
Look at his brooch. Look at his brooch, man.
Yeah,
he's got a fancy ornate brooch. Yeah. There's runes on the shoulders of these guys. I was actually, it's interesting. I was thinking that they're this does feel like it's using some more modern design cues. It is a little more textured. Although the dwarves did get, CAD design plastic kits before it was all wrapped up. So this is probably a continuation of that vibe and aesthetic. But I really love it. Look at the I don't know what it like. Mayors always have them.
The chain of office.
There's the chain of office on the back there. And I believe this kit makes 2 characters, if I'm not mistaken, much like the Tomb King Dragon. So you can get the king on the shield, and then there's here he is.
A guy at the bottom as well, which is really good. And honestly, this is absolutely doing it for me. I love like the Drake scale like cloak at the back, which is amazing, and really good. And it's nice to be given the option as well, I would say.
Yeah, and can we scroll up? Can you make both at the same time, or is it an either or? Let me just see.
I'm pretty certain the guy on top will be either someone you stick on or don't stick on, which I think is nice because you can also get a BSB on shield bearers. So if you're buying the kit,
really,
you can't get it as a miniature, but as a unit in game, you can have a Thane on shield bearers. That's an option.
That's awesome, actually.
So
what a great thing! Yeah.
So you could buy either the kit and then magnetize whether or not you're going to have your king on it or your BSB, or you might get 2 kits and do one of each, which is kind of fun as well. Then you'll end up with a Lord on foot. So I think that's quite nice, like knowing how that works, and it really speaks to the design team working in the same location, like the rules guys and the sculptor guys. I
was just thinking too. I wonder if this again. I don't know my dwarfs too well right now, but I wonder if like that cloak has a clear item upgrade that he can take. That is like a dragon pelt of some kind, maybe.
That's fun. The gems are very big.
Big gems. Got some Eldar vibes to this guy, but let's not mention that. But I like he's got a gemstone on his axe head as well.
Yeah.
This guy's living large. This guy enjoys his throne time. I think likes to. More of an executive dwarf. I'm getting the vibes of from this guy. But overall, really pleased. I'm really enjoying too that like their character kits are continuing sort of an old tradition of having a mounted and a foot version of that. And previously, that usually included a BSB option. So maybe there's a BSB option in here too that they haven't hinted at yet. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But usually these plastic sort of hero kits and lord kits, combo kits do have a BSB option. And that might speak to why you can mount a BSB on some shield bearers.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And we're getting updates in the chat that potentially there might be 2 different models in the same kit, but we don't know. Okay. So then we have 2 other kits. In Forgeable Resin comes the Dwarf Thane with handgun. He's striking a pose on an Oath Stone, which makes him immune to psychology and forces enemies to accept challenges. Also in Forgeable Resin, it's a face you might recognize in Ungrim Iron Fist, to be forever known as Young Grim.
Young Grim.
So we'll start out with our... like very obvious engineer style miniature that we have here. He looks great.
There's also a very now they mentioned that there are 2 characters that we would recognize being unveiled in this arcane journal. I wonder if this might be. Oh Lord, I only know him from Total War. He's down in the he's like down in the Badlands. This was starting position. Anyway, he's an engineer. And he's badass, but look at that helmet, though. Look at that helmet.
That's giving the 80s right there. All right, lads, beautiful. I'm from the 80s, and I'm here to be a dwarf. Yeah, okay.
Beautiful, like sniper blunderbuss as well. Like I am all in on this guy. He is perfect. He's a beautiful mini. He's a big mini too. For a dwarf.
He's on a big stone. That really helps.
He is on the original tactical rock. Of course, Belagor Ironhammer was the first person on one of those, or first dwarf on one of those. Are they people? Are dwarves people? I don't even. Probably.
Yes, they're people.
Do they have personhood? Well, I don't know. Are they human? They're humanoid. Okay, but are they human?
Listen, we settled this in the Star Trek Next Generation episode where Data decided Data was a person. So
very good.
It's been settled.
I think Yeah, the same person later, who made that ruling later, worked for Google and declared that their AI was sentient. All right, so
anyway, I like this miniature. It's giving me good, strong engineer model vibes, which is great.
Face is gorgeous. Like whoever did this. And by the way, smoking a pipe. He's just huffing on his pipe. That's
huffing on a pipe with a little beer can on his belt, which is good.
I would love to see this guy fumble to load his blunderbuss sniper gun, like just like trying to put the pipe in his mouth, like just trying to just drops his tobacco on the ground. Just a mess.
And then we've got Young Grim. Just a straight up Slayer.
Jeez Louise.
With a big old axe, which is a bit of a stunning model, to be honest. Like small, diminutive. Obviously, like there's some good opportunities for some Slayer models like that are knocking around already from Games Workshop. So if you are like a Slayer fan, there's some great minis already available from Games Workshop. But this is
Slay
nice.
All day.
This is nice to add to the mix, right?
He is pissed. I mean, like I feel like this guy is just intimidating. Like he's an intimidating dude. Like he looks mean and like he's gonna hit you with that axe really hard. And that's awesome. I'd love to know how ripped his back is. I hope that he is fully shirtless. Or maybe one of the first dwarves ever modeled with back hair. Maybe some really curly orange back hair. Just ginger back hair. That'd be pretty sweet.
That hair on the top of his head is actually from the back. It's brushed up.
It's a comb forward of his back hair. Amazing. No, this guy is impeccable. It's great. Young Grim is really cool. The other young notable dwarf from the era is Thorgrim. He's the dwarf. Whoever the dwarf king is also a young man before the Great War Against Chaos. Feels a bit early to tip their hand to him. So I'd be curious. Everyone scramble to their 8th edition books and have a look and see who could it be? Who could be the third special character?
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, Thorgrim. Okay, I like both those. 10 out of 10. They did it. And then plastic kits returning in plastic, which are currently available in some cases or not currently available. So we've got. There should be a little button. Oh, there is. Dwarven Warriors kit, which is
there we are.
Great. So, Thunderers.
Really want to note here just how inside their bases these guys are. Like and like if we look up at Young Grim, he is pushed right to the edges. So we're seeing that character scale situation, I think, with these dwarves as well, where the characters are made to that sort of new scale, and these guys are what they used to be. So interesting.
Yeah, 30,
Young Grim is going to dominate his little Slayer bros for sure.
He's going to be way bigger as a mini, definitely. And we've got the Thunderers returning, which is great. I was always a massive fan of the Ironbreaker sculpts. I think they look very good. And these are not that old. These are only about 10 years old. And that you can either build them as Ironbreakers or as Iron Blasters, the Drake Quick Gun guys. Those guys, Hammerers,
Drake guns,
Hammerers as well, which I think is still currently on sale, but they'll come in a new shiny old box.
Yeah, Hammerers / Longbeards, I think is that box. And look at how many you get in there. That looks like a box of 20. That's nice. That's a good unit, probably as much as you need to field them. To be quite frank.
That is a big box.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Nice. Yeah, that is. If they do sell them in, do you think they're going to sell them in a 20? No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Foot Knights, the Knights of the Realm on Foot came out in a 20, and I suspect, this is actually one box that they're showing us here as well. So it'd be 20 here as well, because that's a multi-part kit.
Wow.
You can make both the Ironbreakers and the Drakes.
That's a big deal because in Age Sigmar right now they're sold in 10s, so this would be a repackaging for a bigger box. Very interesting stuff. Okay, all right, great. So we love that. Like all great kits, in my personal opinion.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, that's not all. These regiments are joined by the Slayer of Legend, the King of the Oathstone, the Runesmith, Gyrocopter, and cannons, which also build organ guns. So you are going to get all of your guns back: cannons, organ guns, King on an Oathstone. These are all coming back, which is, Belagar. I think it's Belagar.
So yes, and the Slayer of Legend is a beautiful plastic Slayer, gorgeous Slayer. One of my favorite models. Just really, I think again, the dwarves were real innovators of the tactical rock. Both the Oathstone and that Slayer is like leaping off of something. So yeah, very pleased. Those are some great plastic kits. Now these guys I have never actually seen before.
Oh, I at one point I owned all 3 of these. So these are the Forge World resin kits, which were out, which are
command kit, which are very fun. But the BSB I think is particularly cool, and I do like the guy with the axe is fun. These are really good. So they're coming back. So just anything that you want to get your hands on. Metal kits, we've gone and got the old Anvil of Doom, which back to metal.
At what point was like a bit iffy as whether or not you'd get it, but now it's really good in the game, and you may want to pick yourself one up.
Yeah, kind of a necessary, almost an auto include on the Anvil.
I think it's very, very good, the Anvil. I think it's great. Then we've got Grudge Throwers returning, Bolt Throwers returning, Flame Cannon, Anvil, and Master of Engineers are all coming back, but they are all going to be in metal, which is very difficult to manage. Very difficult to manage.
Cannon, those. I'm surprised they didn't do their shtick where they remaster it into a Forge World resin kit. Especially the Grudge Thrower and Bolt Thrower. But I guess they assume that people will be more drawn to the organ gun and cannon over the golden oldies. But those are fun kits too. These are more of your 6th edition, 7th edition era miniatures. But I don't know. They're perfectly fine to me.
Yeah, agreed. Now we're getting into stuff that I don't know what we're looking at, I'm confused. So there are classic Slayers dating back to the early '90s, as well as Slayer Command. The slightly more recent Doomsakers is even the Goblin Hewer. Finally, the selection of Imperial Dwarfs and their command also in the early '90s, and Joseph Bugman's Cart. So I think it's Joseph Bugman is the other character, by the way. That's the other character, Joseph Bugman.
Is he alive? Maybe he is. But I mean, like, that cart can't be in the permanent collection. I can't imagine the Bugman on cart guy is.
Well, can we start with the Braveheart Dwarfs? Because I don't know what I'm seeing.
The Doom Seekers with the axes on chains. The guys with the axes on chains.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think those are Doom Seekers. They were like 6th edition sort of thing, part of the Slayer army. I think they did in White Dwarf. I'm actually kind of making this up. 6th edition people always hate it when I just try and make up stuff. So I'm sure I'll get corrected in chat where they actually came from. I meant to look them up on Wikipedia before we started, but I didn't. So yeah, I don't know. They're cool. They got axes spinning around. I believe there's. Am I crazy? Oh no, it's like a chaos model that has the axe on chains that kind of took that in the AOS range. There's no Fire Slayers like this, is there?
They all have bladed sling shields, so they all kind of throw something.
Okay.
So maybe, and there's a couple of Slayers that do have whippy style weapons. For Fire Slayers, these are. Listen, I don't know what these are.
The new Ard boys, the new orcs who aren't wearing shirts. That they work hard, they play hard. Don't they have axes on chains?
Yes.
Someone's got axes on chains. Anyway.
Yeah, someone.
The banner bearer in the back, that standard bearer, is different than the one I recall as the command for Slayers. So he might have been someone that came out maybe with the Doom Seekers.
Apparently, this all came out at the same time in the Storm of Chaos. They're all Storm of Chaos dudes.
Yeah, okay, they are Storm of Chaos. Okay, cool. Yeah, and the Goblin Hewer is super funny and cool. I really, really am glad that they're bringing him back. Although, is it just pure metal or was it? Yeah, it's returning metal. Okay, cool.
So returning metal, and for people who we haven't glossed over it, all the war machines are returning either in plastic or in metal. It does say that in those articles, just doesn't feature them. And now I'm about to lose my whole goddamn mind. Lastly, there's a made-to-order collection.
Where'd the Goblin Hewer go? Did we not see the Goblin Hewer?
I think that's further down. Oh, no, wait, they haven't.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not further down. They haven't shown it off. So that would be here. The Goblin Hewer
was in this article.
They've deleted it for some reason.
Is it maybe? That's so strange. This article has changed a bunch of times since I went to bed. It's funny. If you click on it, do you get maybe some pictures you can scroll through?
No, I get nothing. Interesting.
Yeah, featured very strongly in the video portion of this. So yeah, it was. But anyway, Goblin Hero is like an axe throwing device that Slayers use, and it looks really cool. I've seen it come up on old Hammer trading sites and things like that, and I've for no reason almost bought it a bunch of times. So it'll be tempting. I've divested my dwarfs, So who's this?
This is, again, I'm trying to find the images. Really hoping that our Discord has got the juice, because I think that they might. But this is Bugman on a pony. Again, it featured in the video, but for some reason, it hasn't been something that they featured as of yet online, because I really want to show off the Hewer, because the Hewer is a crazy mini that I never knew existed. So it's an automated axe throwing machine, which is truly crazy. I can't believe they haven't got the pictures up. This is wild.
Maybe it might be one of those things where they're jammed up. I did notice on the Orc release article that there's a lot of stuff that's just like not available in certain markets as they're trying to get the production going. So maybe they just realized that the Goblin Hewer's pretty far away from being able to actually be sent. I find the idea of like Slayer War Machine operators a bit strange. Are they just hoping that they get like caught up in the machinery and killed? Like, I don't understand.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. I got to say, I do love the idea that like someone sat at home and then they posted, we're going to bring back the Goblin Hewer. And then the metal casters at home was like sits bolt upright. And he's like, what? That is not going to work. Like... Immediate meeting at 9 a.m. where he's like, boys, I don't think you understand. This is not ready for production.
I don't think you know. It's very far back in the drawer. We've sent a team in looking for it. But yeah, there's the Goblin Hewer. It's great. And there's like a little goblin too. Had been like split in two by an axe. I hope he comes with it. But yeah, it's a cool little thing. I have no idea how it worked. I don't know anything about it. Tell us in the comments your fondest memory of the Goblin Hewer. It did not make it to 8th edition. It had no 8th edition rules, as far as I know.
Which is a shame. These, you did gloss over it, but these 1980s dwarfs,
we hadn't got there yet. Okay.
Oh, we hadn't got there.
These are returning metal. Okay, these guys are permanent collection. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So Prince Ultha, returns at the head of his dragon company in two separate sets. One containing the impetuous prince himself, his champion Borry Forkbeard, a standard bearer and a musician.
What beard?
Forkbeard. Sorry. The other contains 5 doughty dwarf warriors, creating a regiment of renown that could be used as mercenaries by dwarven and imperial armies.
Okay.
On top of that, yet further into the future, there are 5 more sets. 5 more sets of mighty dwarven legends to be made to order. These include a set of 5 metal lords, 3 metal runesmiths, 4 metal dragon and demon slayers, 1 metal dwarf queen, and a lord, Thane and Standard Bearer and Resin. We can't show them currently, but these exquisite miniatures will be very familiar to dwarf players in particular vintage. I assume they're not painted, is what I'm going to go for. That's why we're not seeing them.
Yeah, and actually, duly noted, we did not see in the metal section there Slayers.
Yes, it's true. They did not see Slayers.
And there is no plastic alternative to Slayers, so maybe they're holding on to that for when they actually reveal the what are they called?
Armies of Infamy.
So yeah, perhaps that's what's up with the missing Slayers. But yeah, they're just tripping over themselves. I love it in the Almanac interview with JTY and Dan about the Arcane Journal Orc and Goblin release. There's a lot of positive information being released about like how they're, the scope has increased and all this, but just hilarious between the lines digs about just not having any resources and like. And just like a lot of references to, look, there's like 5 of us, all right, guys, we're working as hard as we can here, like having to decide which of the giants they were going to paint up to display in like new color. Like it's funny, and I like that they were like airing that laundry in a very public forum. So maybe they'll get chipped some extra head count so they can start getting more stuff ready faster.
I am obsessed.
They're blowing the doors off with these releases.
Yeah, I agree. I am obsessed with the release that we saw last night and the live reveal, where they're like, "Here's the Age of Sigmar cinematic trailer," and everyone's like, "Ooh!" And then JTY's like, "I'm pretty tired. Here's some stuff I found from the '80s," and then everyone's like, "I'm in."
Bravo! Actually,
keep it coming.
I will say I am surprised that they, I mean, obviously they have the plastic kits that they want to sell of Longbeards, Iron Breakers, and hammerers. But those guys, so those metal units from back in the day, those are coveted ones. Especially Longbeards are really, really personable. They're a bit bigger than these guys. Are tiny little dorks. Like they're going to be comically small. They're more like halflings on by modern standards. But sort of that middle era of Warhammer sculpts for the dwarves, really beloved, especially the Longbeards. Even I can't front on the Longbeards. The drunken, there's the grudge bearers have like a drunken guy who's like leaning on his crossbow. There's a lot of really cool ones from sort of this vintage and a little bit later. And I'm surprised that they haven't been leaked as made to order. We're going to get some of the characters by the looks of it from that timeline. But I guess because the plastic kits are out, they're not doing the made to order thing.
I'm mad that I don't have a picture of the cart, the pony cart, Bugman on his cart, because it's a bajillion years old and it looks great and I'm obsessed with it. So anyway, I want more, because I was building a list last night with miners, and this is just a quick off topic, and it's like you got the drill. And I was like, give me the pony cart upgrade.
No miners.
Like, oh yeah. No miners showcased. Are we sure?
Unless miners are
they are short. They're short, but they're not miners. They're perfectly of age. Are miners maybe an alternate build to the warriors? I don't think so. I think the miners are their own thing. Miners are their own thing. No miners here. Are they retconning that dwarfs dig holes? Because this is a quintessential element of dwarven life. Diggy hole.
It's definitely had its own plastic kit. And of course, there was also the Battle for Black Pass miners.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. There is a throng of dwarven units returning in plastic. Ironbreakers, hammerers, warriors, miners
and
quarrelers. Everything's been released. They just haven't showcased pictures of everything.
Got it, and then not painted.
Yeah, just the quick TLDR, Slayer of Legend, King on Oathstone, Rudesmith, Gyrocopter. Yeah, not painted. And then... Okay. There is going to be the much missed dwarf command set containing a Lord Thane battle standard bearer. Then in metal, there's the Anvil of Doom, classic sculpture on the elite infantry. But we'll start with Grudge Thrower, the Bolt Thrower, Flame Cannon, Anvil of Doom, Groper Master Engineers. They also talked about cannons and other stuff as well. So everything's being re-released.
Oh, it's amid returning metal miniatures. There we go. It was just in the subtext. Go back up for me to that last thing. They literally call out the Longbeards. Mid the returning metal miniatures that some of the true Longbeards, classic sculpts rather than the elite infantry unit, make an appearance. What? So are they coming? Anyway, doesn't matter. The Grudge Thrower, the Bolt Thrower, the Flame Cannon, Anvil, Doom, Group Master Engineers. Cool.
Again, the painter, the solo painter they have working on the Old World project, they're just like, Jimmy, we're doing dwarfs. He's like, what?
I got blisters on my fingers.
I'll paint as fast as you can, boss.
Yes. Amazing. Anyway.
That's it.
That's the good solid release. Is that everything?
That's
nothing past the mercenaries. There's one little thing about the mercenaries here.
Well, can I say that I'm actually very excited about this because I'm now going to go away. I have no idea who Prince Ulthar is and his dragon company. That sounds great. I got to say, got some giddy first ed kind of my first Warhammer experience kind of feelings in my chest. I'd love to see regiments and units of renown kind of return. I love a special name character. I love some Marenberg soldiers. I love some upgrade kits. I love it. Like they're just called the Dragon Company. It's given me great vibes. I'd love to see some more of that in the game. It's just a really exciting place, the Old World right now. Really exciting, very innovative.
Yeah, and I like too that these are harkening back to Imperial Dwarfs, which used to be a thing that you could take an empire all the time. So it's really they're really great, and also their rules will be included in their box rather than printed anywhere, which is interesting.
Well, so that if you buy them for your Imperial force, you don't have to go buy another book.
Correct.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Rules locking them to the box. So someone will upload them to the internet. That's all I care about.
In about 4 seconds.
5 seconds.
It's 5 seconds. Well, that's it. That's going to be that's the kind of the toy 45 on this
45.
one.
Wow.
Well, 40. Toy 40 on that.
40. Nice.
But I mean, it's pretty exciting times. Let me know, dwarf fans out there, and don't stop hating on the dwarfs. I think it's time we change this narrative. It's been, I am pushing against probably about 30 years. I don't know why, but people love dwarfs. People hate dwarfs, and it'd be fun to see some more excitement for the dwarfs. I think personally.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if they do anything cool to address their, beleaguered movement concerns. Of course, clarity on drilled would really help them out. The ability to go be in a marching column and then move 9, and then be able to and charge out of that. That would be big for dwarves, and also I think very thematic and awesome. So I think all of those things could help them, and we'll see too with those armies of infamy whether or not they get some things that maybe boost their ability to move about the table. But yeah, I think it's tough sledding for dwarfs because they just don't have any cav, and this is a very cav and flying creature intensive edition for sure.
I would say one of the things I really like about this release is in kind of like, I don't think the old world is going to permeate modern culture in the same way Lord of the Rings has. So I want to be clear on that before I go any further. But like the more traditional drunken, bawdy dwarf, which feels like the Games Workshop dwarf, like the silly, drunken, like having a good time adventurer dwarf, which I think they do a really good job of in many of the sculpts. Like, some of the Iron Breakers and Iron Drakes are a little serious. They're a little like, serious, yes. Do you know what I mean? They're very serious. So I do
they're lacking in whimsy. In whimsy.
Exactly. Yes. And as we know, JTY doesn't show whimsy on his face, but it's got whimsy in his heart.
In the soul. He's made of whimsy.
Loves troll high trousers. And therefore, I hope to see more whimsy. That's what I gotta say. And dwarfs, for me, will maintain whimsy in the old world. So I'm glad to have them back.
Amazing.
Four.
Look at that. Did we expect 4 fully released lines by year end here? That's impressive. I'm impressed. Good job.
I mean, that's very good. I mean, we don't have an ETA for these, but I assume they're not going to be more than 3 months away.
Yeah, it'll be within the core. I would assume it's before AOS 4 drops. But I mean, I've been wrong before. Probably, I would say the month after Orcs. I would bet.
Before we go though, I need to confirm a prediction of yours.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Val has made this long life commitment to a bit where he thinks he's already worked out the release schedule.
Yes.
By looking at the rule book. Do you want to tell people your theory?
Well, it's, again, not my personal theory, although I can no longer remember in any way, shape, or form where it came from at this point.
Yours now.
But if you look at the cover, let's make sure it's in focus here. So we're gonna see somebody smarter than me or more paranoid than me noticed this. Crap, I'm screwing it up. Okay, here we go. So if we notice, we have all these shields here, these faction shields. You'll notice in the middle we have Bretonnia aligned against Tomb Kings, and then we have Orcs off against the Dawi. So we don't have the order here, but we definitely have the pairings. I think that's that much we know. So it looks like High Elves versus Chaos at some point, and also Wood Elves versus Beastmen, and then Empire versus themselves, perhaps.
Faction civil war. Bum, bum, bum.
I mean, they are engaged in a current civil war in the timeline, so that would jive. That would jive.
Double Empire.
Although the speed at which this is coming out, I feel like we're careening towards a very long drought of stuff coming out once AOS 4 is rolling. But I would bet my money is on new faction for Christmas. That's where my money is.
New faction for Old World for Christmas. You heard it here first.
I think the next thing we see is something we haven't seen before.
I'm putting my money on halflings. That's me. That's where I'm at. Money's on halflings. It's been wonderful doing the show with Val, as always. Thank you to the Square-based show, family, universe, and greater space that we're all in. Thank you to everyone on the Discord, which is part of our Patreon, for being just great. It's great energy, especially after reveal. And then
Super Bass.
And then I can't wait to see some armies. It's only a week away since Val, only a week until Val will be here in the UK, and then we'll be hanging out. And then we've got some tournaments rocking.
We got tournaments rocking. The next episode of Square Based will be together. We'll be hanging out with each other, IRL, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good. I missed it. I missed the hug, so I'm back into it now. But anyway, there we go.
There we go.
All right. So thanks for listening. Let us know what you think of the Dwarfs in the comments below. See you guys soon. Thanks for being square blessed.